The series opens on June 14, 2015, inside the eerily quiet home of Dee Blanchard and her daughter Gypsy. Their neighbor's daughter Lacey is on the phone with 911.
Their car is here, but nobody's answering the door.
Is that why you're worried, ma'am? No one's answering the door?
No, this morning I looked at their Facebook, and on their page, there was some real scary posts on it.
Ma'am, what did the Facebook post say?
According to the post, Dee has been killed and her daughter has been abused. Alarmed, the dispatcher assures Lacey that police are on their way. At the same time, Lacey's mother, Mel, forces her way into the house through a window, calling out for Dee and Gypsy, but there is no response. 7 years earlier, the story rewinds to show how everything began. Dee and Gypsy are being interviewed about their new home, which has been built for them by a charity organization. Dee tearfully describes it as a dream come true, explaining that they had been homeless since Hurricane Katrina. When the interviewer asks Gypsy if she's excited to make new friends, Dee immediately tries to answer for her, but the interviewer insists on hearing from Gypsy directly. Softly, Gypsy replies that her mother is her best friend. After the interview, Dee shaves Gypsy's head. Gypsy wonders what it will feel like to see her hair grow back, but Dee dismisses the thought, saying it would only turn into a bird's nest. Noticing Gypsy's expression change, Dee asks what's wrong. Gypsy admits she's afraid they won't stay in this new house for long, just like all the others before.
This house don't belong to the government. They gave it to us. They even put my name on a piece of paper. You know what that means?
That is ours? Yours and mine?
She then feeds Gypsy a mixture of medications through the tube connected to her stomach. That night, Dee lovingly tucks Gypsy into bed, reminds her that they only have each other, adjusts her CPAP machine, and says goodnight. Once alone, Dee opens a shell filled with various pills, selects a few sleeping tablets, and swallows them. The next day, across the street, Lacey gets ready to visit their new neighbors. She approaches her mother, Mel, who is asleep on the couch, but Mel complains of a headache and refuses to go. She warns Lacey not to treat the Blanchards like celebrities just because she saw them on TV, adding that Lacey's habit of helping everyone could lead people to take advantage of her. Ignoring the warning, Lacey decides to go by herself.
Enjoy the couch.
I will.
Soon, the Blanchards' doorbell rings. Dee opens the door to find Lacey standing there, introducing herself as their neighbor from across the street. She mentions seeing them on TV and says she wanted to stop by. Lacey compliments Gypsy and explains that she volunteers at a memorial where she does makeup for young girls to lift their spirits. She asks if she can practice on Gypsy, and Gypsy eagerly begs her mother for permission.
Please, Mom, please.
Dee agrees. While doing Gypsy's makeup in the bathroom, Gypsy admires Lacey's necklace. Lacey explains that it was a gift from her boyfriend, which immediately fascinates Gypsy.
Boyfriend?
She excitedly talks about how her mother sometimes lets her wear makeup at conventions where she dresses up as Disney princesses. When Gypsy says she wants to dress as Ariel next, Lacey jokingly asks if it's because Ariel gets her legs.
Because Ariel gets her legs. I'm sorry. No, it's okay.
This leads Gypsy to reveal that she used to be able to walk when she was younger. She then shares that her mother told her father used to mock the way she walked and was ashamed of having a disabled child.
I had a bad dad too.
Unbeknownst to them, Dee is listening from around the corner. She overhears Gypsy shyly ask Lacey if they can be friends, and Lacey happily agrees. Moments later, Lacey receives a call from her mother and reluctantly prepares to leave. After Lacey leaves, Dee asks why she came alone without her mother and suggests they take a cake over later to start things off on the right foot. She then reminds Gypsy that she never said she could have friends and warns her to be careful in their new neighborhood so they can make a good impression. Noticing the makeup still on Gypsy's face, Dee goes to get a towel and makes her wipe it all off, insisting she's far too young to wear makeup. Gypsy sadly removes it, and Dee forces her to smile. The next day, Dee wheels Gypsy out onto the porch. Gypsy immediately notices Lacey outside washing a car with her boyfriend and asks if they can go say hello. Lacey happily introduces her boyfriend Luke. Nearby, Dee joins Mel and her friend Shelly, introducing herself and launching into a detailed list of Gypsy's supposed illnesses, including epilepsy and anemia. She explains that Gypsy can barely take anything by mouth, that she never sleeps with both eyes closed, and that she has been Gypsy's sole caregiver for years. Dee adds that Gypsy can't take care of herself and may never be able to, but says she doesn't mind because she loves caring for her. Mel responds by saying Gypsy is lucky to have her and warmly welcomes Dee to the neighborhood again. Meanwhile, Gypsy helps Lacey and Luke wash the car. Lacey offers Gypsy a can of Coke. Gypsy accepts it, but before she can take a sip, Dee notices and screams that she can't have it. She rushes over, screaming that Gypsy is allergic to sugar, and reaches for Gypsy's EpiPen, but Lacey insists she hasn't taken the soda yet. Dee snaps back, claiming they've already been to the emergency room 6 times that year, and she doesn't want to make it a 7th. She then wheels Gypsy away. Back inside, Dee explains in frightening detail what would supposedly happen if Gypsy consumed sugar.
But what if I just had 1 or 2 sips?
Describing a severe reaction and even suggesting she could lose her. Terrified, Gypsy promises never to do it again. Dee says the day has been stressful and suggests they do something fun to cheer themselves up. Later, they head to the mall. Dee pushes Gypsy through various stores as Gypsy excitedly looks at clothes and other items. Gypsy asks for a laptop, but Dee refuses, saying she can use hers instead. Then Gypsy notices a blue necklace, just like the one she saw on Lacey's neck. She insists she wants it. Dee doesn't say no. Instead, with Gypsy's help, she scans the area to make sure no one is watching.
Nobody's watching.
Gypsy helps by positioning her wheelchair to block the view, making it clear they've done this many times before. Unbeknownst to them, Mel spots them from above and watches closely as Dee steals the necklace and slips it into Gypsy's bag. Dee briefly locks eyes with Mel, who silently turns and walks away. Panicked, Dee grabs Gypsy's wheelchair and quickly rushes out of the store. When they return home, Dee is visibly shaken and works off her frustration by throwing herself into chores. Outside, she plants flowers while Gypsy complains that she's tired and wants to go inside. They soon notice Mel standing outside her house. Gypsy waves and says hello, and Mel responds. When Dee greets her, however, Mel ignores her. Dee decides to approach her anyway, but before she can speak, Shelly steps outside and asks how they're settling in.
How's that house treating you? Like it was made just for you, I bet.
Oh, it was.
That's a joke, Dee. I should know I helped build it. We all did. That's how Habitat works.
When Mel asks what Dee needs, Dee says she just wants to borrow some butter. Mel replies that she doesn't have any.
You might have to go down to the store, you know? Pick some up.
As Shelly talks about a TV show and how she didn't see the twist coming, Mel coldly adds that she can always tell when someone isn't up to any good, and that in their neighborhood, they always find out everything about people.
Everybody knows everything about everyone in this neighborhood.
Inside the house, Gypsy is watching cartoons when she suddenly gets an idea. She checks to see if her mother is still talking outside, then quietly grabs the laptop. She searches for the words best friend and scrolls through pictures before typing boyfriend kiss. As she looks at the images, she smiles to herself. Hearing Dee coming, Gypsy quickly deletes the browsing history and shuts the laptop. Dee walks in and complains that she's had a terrible day and doesn't feel like cooking. Gypsy suggests they order pizza, and Dee agrees. Soon after, Dee pours milk over a few slices, blends them, and feeds Gypsy through her tube, while complaining that Mel doesn't like her because she made a bad impression. Gypsy suggests inviting the neighbors over so Dee can make her gumbo. Dee likes the idea and decides to turn it into a party for the whole neighborhood. The next day, the party is underway. Dee moves around, greeting neighbors as they drop money into a donation jar labeled Gypsy's Eye Operation. She thanks them and serves her gumbo. Nearby, younger children play around Gypsy, clearly making her uncomfortable. Gypsy notices Lacey and her boyfriend together and watches them with interest. Meanwhile, Mel stays inside her house, watching TV. Later, Gypsy approaches Lacey, her boyfriend, and their friends. They greet her warmly, and Lacey jokes that the neighborhood is acting like desperate housewives.
There's a lot of stuff going on behind closed doors.
Your mom lets you watch Desperate Housewives?
Yeah.
The group then gets up to go to the movies. Gypsy asks if she can come along, but Lacey gently reminds her that her mother wouldn't allow it. They say goodnight and leave, leaving Gypsy visibly disappointed. Gypsy notices a tray of cupcakes. After hesitating, she picks one up and takes a bite. Elsewhere, Dee is chatting with Shelly when Mel finally joins the party. Shelly praises Dee's gumbo and heads off to get Mel a bowl. Once she's gone, Mel confronts Dee, telling her she won't pretend she didn't see what happened at the mall. Dee tries to blame Gypsy, saying she sometimes takes things.
She's got the mind of a child. Sometimes she takes things.
What the shit? I saw you.
Mel accuses Dee of pretending to be the perfect mother. Dee fires back, saying Gypsy deserves nice things because her disabilities may not allow her to live long. Mid-sentence, Dee notices Gypsy eating the cupcake.
Gypsy!
She screams her name, smacks the cupcake out of her hand, and forcefully injects her with an EpiPen in the thigh. She immediately wheels Gypsy away, shouting that they're going to the emergency room. The neighbors watch in stunned silence as Shelly remarks that Dee has been through a lot. At the hospital, Gypsy listens closely as Dee speaks with the doctor about her health. Soon after, Dee wheels Gypsy out, panicking and lamenting that she almost lost her, once again describing the terrible reaction that could have happened. Outside, Dee tells Gypsy she's angry because she nearly lost her. Dee hugs her tightly just as Mel approaches and asks how Gypsy is doing. Dee says she'll be fine and wheels her toward the car. Mel explains that Dee forgot her purse and brought it so she wouldn't get pulled over without a license. As Mel turns to leave, Dee stops her. Mel downplays the mall incident, saying it wasn't a big deal. Dee confesses that she had a misdemeanor in Louisiana Louisiana and that her life has often been a mess, adding that being Gypsy's mother is the only thing she's ever done right. Mel admits she's made mistakes too.
11 years ago, Lacey's dad started acting real scary. Stuck the kids in the car and took off. $50 to my name. I did some shit. And I ain't ashamed, but I wouldn't put it on my gravestone. What do you say? Fresh start?
And the two women share a hug. That night, after returning home, Dee tucks Gypsy into bed and repeats her usual routine, calling her an angel and reminding her that they only have each other. She adjusts Gypsy's CPAP machine and says goodnight. Dee then takes her sleeping pills and sorts through the mail, finding a $1,500 support check for Gypsy from her dad, Robb Blanchard. She goes to bed. Later, Gypsy quietly removes her CPAP mask and slips out of bed. This time, she doesn't need her wheelchair. She walks into the kitchen, takes out a can of whipped cream, and places an EpiPen nearby, just in case. She takes a small taste first. Nothing happens. She finishes the rest, and still, nothing happens. She recalls the doctor telling her mother earlier that she doesn't have a sugar allergy.
Your daughter does not have a sugar allergy.
Well, something's wrong with her.
Mrs. Blanchard, we've checked everything.
Look at my daughter's chart. She's got...
Gypsy puts everything back, stretches, and quietly returns to her room. There, she freezes. Dee is awake and waiting. Gypsy lies, saying she was thirsty. Dee orders her back into bed, refits the CPAP mask, and climbs back into bed herself, gently stroking Gypsy's head and calling her, The story cuts back to June 14th, 2015. After Lacey's call, police arrive at the Blanchard home. Two detectives quietly enter the house with their guns drawn and begin searching room by room. They eventually reach Dee's bedroom, where they find her body under the covers, stabbed multiple times in the back. Lacey and Mel rush over as the detectives step outside. When they're told Dee is dead, they're both shocked.
What about Gypsy? Where is Gypsy?
Neighbors crowd around the detectives, anxiously asking questions about Gypsy's whereabouts. They list off the many illnesses they believe she suffers from, growing more worried by the minute. One of the detectives tries to write everything down, but Mel steps in and admits Gypsy has had so many supposed medical problems over the years that it's hard to keep track of them all. Dee's body is being examined as investigators document the stab wounds. Outside the house, Mel, Lacey, and Shelly speculate about who could have killed her and what might have led to it. Shelly even suggests it could have been Dee's ex, since Dee often complained about him, but Mel quickly shuts that idea down. Lacey then raises a chilling possibility, that the killer may have been after Gypsy, and Dee was just collateral damage. Mel asks if she knows something.
You know something?
But Lacey stays silent. The story cuts back to 2009. Gypsy is secretly drinking Coke and eating frosting straight from the container while watching makeup tutorials on YouTube, consuming as much sugar as she can. Suddenly, she feels a sharp pain in her tooth. Panicked, she deletes her browsing history and quickly cleans up the evidence. The next morning, Dee checks the mailbox and finds a letter that sends her into a frenzy of excitement. She rushes inside and wakes Gypsy, announcing that a charity organization called Springfield Gives has selected Gypsy as Child of the Year from nominations Dee submitted months earlier. Along with the title comes a cash prize, and Dee excitedly explains that people from all over will attend the event to see Gypsy. As she speaks, Dee touches Gypsy's mouth and notices her discomfort. When Gypsy finally opens her mouth, Dee sees that her teeth are badly decayed.
How long has it been hurting?
A little while. I just thought maybe if I brushed harder, it would go away.
Instead of questioning the obvious cause, Dee immediately insists there must be an underlying medical condition. She asks if Gypsy's throat burns or her chest hurts, and quickly concludes she knows exactly what's wrong. Soon after, they visit a children's hospital, where Gypsy's pediatrician, Dr. Harley, warmly greets them, joking and playing with Gypsy. When he asks what brings them in, Dee pulls out her thick binder of Gypsy's medical records. She claims Gypsy had severe acid reflux as a child, which is why she has a feeding tube, and insists the condition has returned and is now destroying her teeth. Dr. Harley says he'll call in a gastroenterologist for a second opinion. While he steps away to make the call, Dee quietly steals his prescription pad. Gypsy is then examined by Dr. Chandra, who checks her teeth and points out that the decay should have been caught much earlier by a dentist. She assures Dee that she'll schedule a proper dental appointment as soon as possible. When Dee presses her about an underlying condition like acid reflux, Dr. Chandra asks whether Gypsy eats by mouth. Dee quickly cuts in.
Oh, barely anything, just enough to get a taste.
Maybe 20%?
20%?
Well, she can't swallow, but she never has candy. She's allergic to sugar. I think she has a hiatal hernia.
What did you say? She had her salivary glands removed?
Well, let me check.
Just a ballpark, Mom. Is that Gypsy's full medical records? Can I just take a quick look at them?
I'm sorry, the records that you want were all lost during Katrina.
Dr. Chandra lets it go, but mentions that Gypsy's feeding tube is not permanent and could be removed at any time. Gypsy lights up at the news, but Dee Dee immediately shuts it down, saying they need to leave and muttering that the visit was a waste of time as she wheels Gypsy out. Later, during lunch, Dr. Chandra questions Dr. Harley about Gypsy's medical history, asking whether he's ever been able to independently confirm any of Dee Dee's claims. Dr. Harley admits that he hasn't. Parked outside a pharmacy, Dee Dee copies down a list of medications using pages from the prescription pad she stole. Inside the car, Gypsy notices posters of women in bikinis on the wall and smiles, imagining herself wearing one, until she looks down at her feeding tube. She asks her mother what if Dr. Chandra was right about it being removable. Dee Dee quickly dismisses the idea.
Sometimes people like to paint a rosy color on things when the truth really isn't very pretty. You let your mama do the talking when it comes to doctors.
That evening, after returning from the hospital, Gypsy reaches for a bottle of Coke, but notices the Child of the Year letter from the charity pinned to the fridge. Seeing the date of the event, she hesitates and puts the soda back, worried about ruining her teeth before the ceremony. Later that night, while brushing her teeth, the toothbrush hits a badly decayed tooth. She drops it in pain, then pulls out the rotting tooth. The next day, Dee Dee feeds Gypsy her medication through the tube as Gypsy watches Lacey and her friends arriving outside. Dee Dee notices Gypsy's interest. Across the street, Mel is already irritated by the noise coming from her children's room. She grabs a beer and steps outside to cool off. She finds Dee Dee and Gypsy standing there. Dee Dee offers her a plate of cupcakes and explains that she's brought Gypsy over to spend some girl time with Lacey.
Well, the boys are on the PlayStation. Lacey's with her friends. Well, I was just coming out to the porch to escape. Now what the hell? Maybe Gypsy will be a positive role model on them girls. Follow the music.
Gypsy is wheeled inside and goes straight to Lacey's room. Lacey is excited to see her and invites her in, introducing her to her friends, who are playing with a puppy. Lacey tells them Gypsy is cool, and they begin to include her. Gypsy watches as they draw a tattoo on Lacey's leg. At one point, they pass Gypsy some weed. She tries to smoke it, but the girls notice her teeth and comment on how bad they look.
Oh, are your teeth okay? Oh. God, those don't look so good.
Lacey quickly takes the weed away and reassures Gypsy that she'll be okay. Gypsy admits she's been sneaking sweets at night, which caused the tooth decay. When asked about her sugar allergy, she lies and says she's probably growing out of it. The girls encourage her to be brave for her dentist appointment. Meanwhile, Dr. Chandra is growing suspicious. She begins gathering Gypsy's medical records from previous doctors, calling to verify Dee Dee's claims about Gypsy's illnesses, allergies, and feeding tube. After collecting enough information, Dr. Chandra contacts Child Protective Services. Not long after, a CPS agent arrives at the Blanchard home. When Dee Dee sees the car pull up, she quickly turns up the TV, wheels Gypsy into the bathroom, and takes out her sleeping pills. She forces Gypsy to open her mouth and pours the crushed contents of 2 pills inside, ordering her to stay put. Dee Dee then answers the door. The agent introduces herself as Allison and explains that someone in the community reported concerns about Gypsy's safety.
Oh, who would do that?
Dee Dee invites her in, and Allison begins inspecting the house, taking notes as Dee Dee rattles off Gypsy's many supposed medical conditions, including claiming Gypsy once nearly choked on her own saliva. When Allison asks to see Gypsy, Dee Dee brings her out, explaining that Gypsy is slower than other girls her age. Allison asks to speak with Gypsy alone. Dee Dee resists, saying she needs to stay close in case Gypsy has a seizure, but Allison compromises by asking her to wait in the doorway. Alone with Gypsy, Allison gently asks whether she and her mother get along, whether Dee Dee ever gets angry, or if Gypsy ever feels scared around her. Drugged and sluggish, Gypsy answers slowly.
What do you mean?
Saying her mom is fine and only takes her toys when she's upset. She says the only time she gets scared is when she has bad dreams. As the interview continues, Dee Dee notices the stolen prescription pad lying close to Allison and begins to panic. Before it's discovered, Allison calls Dee Dee over and asks why the name on her address doesn't match her social security records. Dee Dee dismisses it as a government error and smoothly retrieves the pad under the excuse of writing down Allison's contact information. Allison explains that fixing records isn't her role and soon prepares to leave. Dee Dee tries to ask who reported her, but Allison ignores the question and exits. Once the agent is gone, Dee Dee collapses emotionally, crying beside Gypsy. In the aftermath, she covers the windows with translucent sheets, blocking outsiders from seeing into the house. Later, Dee Dee visits Mel and explains that Child Protective Services came to her house. She wonders aloud who could be so cruel as to try to take Gypsy away from her, a child who needs constant care. She gives Mel a pointed look.
Dee Dee, I know I give you a hard time, but I give everybody a hard time. Look, everyone
Everybody knows you take good care of Gypsy.
Dee admits she's terrified of everything falling apart and says she can't bear the thought of having to move again. Mel reassures her that she's the best person for Gypsy and encourages her to ignore whoever made the report. The following day, Dee takes Gypsy to the dentist. When they're called in, Gypsy is prepared for the procedure and put under anesthesia. The dentist informs Dee that multiple teeth will need to be extracted and asks her to wait outside. Gypsy is horrified and begins crying, begging her mother not to let them pull her teeth. Before anything can be done, the anesthesia takes effect as the dentists begin their work. Back at home, Gypsy wakes up and immediately touches her mouth. She wheels herself to the mirror and breaks down in tears when she realizes all her teeth are gone. Later, Dee gives her a bath as Gypsy continues to cry. Dee gently reassures her, promising she'll get new teeth soon. Later that day, Dee dances around Gypsy to I'll Be There by the Jackson 5, waving a piece of fabric and urging her to sing along, calling it their song. Gypsy ignores her, still upset. Dee excitedly talks about the upcoming Child of the Year ceremony, discussing what Gypsy will wear. Gypsy writes in a notebook, asking about her teeth. Dee explains it will take some time before the dentures are ready and that her gums are still swollen.
My face.
Dee tells her she's always pretty.
I know what pretty looks like, Mom.
In protest, Gypsy pulls out her feeding tube. Shocked, Dee demands to know what's gotten into her and reminds her of all the work she put into securing the award. Gypsy says that she doesn't want to attend the event. Dee explodes, shouting that she will go. At that moment, the phone rings. Dee answers and finds Dr. Chandra on the line, checking in on Gypsy. Dee says Gypsy just had dental work done and that they're focused on her recovery. Dr. Chandra, who is reviewing a growing list of unnecessary procedures Gypsy has undergone, offers to help lighten Dee's burden. She suggests assisting with the feeding tube, noting that Dr. Harley had said a physician should handle any changes. When Dee hesitates, Dr. Chandra adds that they can also revisit the supposed acid reflux and discuss proper treatment options. Reluctantly, Dee agrees, and Dr. Chandra promises to schedule an appointment. A few days later, the day of the award ceremony arrives. Dee dresses Gypsy up, placing a bow on her head and telling her how beautiful she looks. Gypsy responds by opening her mouth, showing her toothless smile, clearly unhappy. As they wait to be called on stage, Dee pulls out a small case and hands it to Gypsy. Inside are her new dentures. Gypsy lights up as she puts them in and asks why she didn't get them sooner. Dee explains that they only arrived that morning. Soon, they're called to the stage. Gypsy is announced as the 2009 Child of the Year. Dee wheels her forward as they're handed the award. Dee takes the microphone, explaining that Gypsy is shy and delivers an emotional speech about how people think she saved Gypsy, but in reality, Gypsy saved her and gave her purpose. The crowd applauds. Gypsy then takes the microphone and begins singing, I'll Be There. Mother and daughter sing together as the audience cheers, ending the moment in applause. A few days later, Dee and Gypsy arrive at Dr. Chandra's hospital for their appointment. As they're about to go in, a nurse stops Dee and tells her she needs to fill out medical release forms and confirm Gypsy's insurance, asking her to step away. Clearly, Dr. Chandra arranged this so she could speak with Gypsy in private. Dr. Chandra reassures Dee that she won't begin the procedure until she returns, then takes Gypsy inside. Alone with Gypsy, Dr. Chandra chats with her, complimenting her new dental work and gently explaining that her feeding tube could be permanently removed sooner than Gypsy thinks. She asks about the kinds of food Gypsy eats, and Gypsy repeats that she's allergic to sugar. Dr. Chandra calmly tells her that she may not be allergic at all. She pulls out a can of Coke and tells Gypsy that taking a sip could help them find out. If she reacts, the doctor will be right there to help, and if she doesn't, Gypsy could finally start eating normally. Gypsy refuses.
My mom is my best friend. All she wants to do is keep me safe.
I believe you, sweetheart. I know that. But sometimes, even parents can get confused. And sometimes even parents need help, and maybe this is the help that both of you need.
Still, Gypsy refuses. Just then, Dee walks back in, and Dr. Chandra quietly puts the soda away. The procedure begins, and Dr. Chandra removes Gypsy's old feeding tube and replaces it with a new one. The story cuts back to the night Dee's body was discovered in 2015. Detectives move through the house, stunned by the sheer number of stuffed animals and prescription pills inside.
All this is for one kid?
Across the street, in Mel's home, Lacey admits she knows something important. They meet with the detectives, and Lacey reveals that Gypsy once confided in her about having a personal Facebook account separate from her mother's. Believing Gypsy may have met someone online, a boyfriend, The timeline shifts back to 2009. Gypsy adds a new stuffed animal to her already overflowing collection and pauses to look at them all. This concludes the first 2 episodes of the series. The next part will be on the channel in a few days, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss it. And if the next part is already on the channel by the time you're watching this, you can check it out by clicking on the picture on screen.
You were diagnosed with epilepsy about this time as well, right?
Yes, sir.
And so they started giving you Tegretol, and it caused your teeth to crumble.
Yes, sir.
Did you know what was happening at the time?
No, I really didn't. I just didn't understand why my teeth were falling out. I had to have them extracted. I just knew I was losing teeth.
But you know now you didn't have epilepsy.
I know now.